Satchidananda. Oh, Satchidananda. Oh, Satchidananda. Oh, Satchidananda. Oh, Satchidananda. You replace me with thee. Oh, you remove me until only I remain. You replace me with thee. You remove me until only truth remains. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya. Shivaya.
Beloved Father, who dwells within the soul of my being, whose name is I am. Veneration to your holy name. Thy kingdom is here, thy will prevails throughout the earth as it does in the heavenly realms of my soul. Beloved Father, who dwells within the soul of my being, whose name is I am. You open your hands and satisfy the hunger of all living beings. You heal all hearts of sorrow until they turn. May show forgiveness to those whose minds are shrouded in ignorance of the self. veneration to your holy name. Thy kingdom is here, thy will prevails throughout the earth as it does in the heavenly realms of my soul. Beloved Father, who dwells within the soul of my being, whose name is I am. There's no prophet to come, my dear. He's already here. No distance to travel from here. Nearer than near. Christ light you are. Krishna consciousness, Shiva being you are, my dear. You are. Amen. Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna, Amen. Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna. There's no prophet to come, my dear. He's already here. No name, no form to carry. Timeless being. Christ light you are. You are Krishna consciousness, Shiva being you are, my dear. You are. Amen. Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna, Amen. Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna. Christ light you are. You are Krishna consciousness, Shiva being you are, my dear. You are.
Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai. Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru. So what are we going to do today? Now we don't have any singers also. Do we? Silent sitting? So if there's someone new watching on YouTube, they can ask a question if it's strong and is burning for them. Or if some of you we've not met for a long time, if you have a question you can ask. And then we sit in silence, or some of you can share something if you like.
Father, may I come?
You can come.
Thank you. I wanted to share that I'm very appreciative and grateful for all the lovely birthday greetings I've been getting from the Sangha this week. Been very sweet. And there's a new feeling here. Oh, usually on my birthday I'm very expansive, I'm a Leo, so it's like, yeah, blah, birthday. And I am having a party on Saturday, and it'll probably be more like that. But in the last couple of days, it's just been really mellow and pleasant, and I spent the whole day out with some friends yesterday, and I worked today, so I haven't even had a chance to read all of the Facebook greetings, and there's a lot of them. And usually that's the first thing I do is like, I gotta go to Facebook and see who, sent me a message and like every one of them. And for some reason there's a different feeling this year of just kind of knowing that they're there and that I'll get to it. and there was a little part, that little voice saying, is there something wrong? Are you okay? Is this supposed to happen? Is this because you've been going to Satsang now all these months and you don't care as much? There's the doubting, the questioner. Maybe the checker guy. But there really is something different. I really am feeling something different, and I can't put words to it, really. So I just wanted to share that.
Very good. And happy birthday once again from all of us.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's nice to talk to you in person. It's really been a while since I've been here to talk.
Yesterday, actually, some of us were also sitting, and someone was sharing how it seems like there's some fluttering going on, or some fear coming, or something like this. And we looked at it and we saw that actually, just like the ocean, at the surface level on the ocean, there's always this waviness, you see. The waves falling up and down. It can seem like very turbulent at times, and sometimes it can feel like very quiet. But as we start to go below the surface, some of us have seen these videos of underwater, and it all seems so still, you see. The water, although it is the same water which is wavy at the surface, as we go deeper and deeper at ground level, then you find that it is very still, you see, and it becomes very pristine and beautiful. And that the majority, the predominance of the ocean is not at the surface, it is below the surface. Now, because something is wavy, our attention seems to go to that which is changing. So that seems to get a lot of our attention. But if you just go one millimeter below the surface of this phenomenal existence, what do we find? We find a great stillness, unmoving. Because all this changing is happening only at the surface level. And because it is movement, it seems attractive to the mind and to our attention. All that is needed is to just look below the surface and see what is the underlying sense of existence below this overlay of movement. What is it that it is based upon? The sense of existence, which is so beautifully unchanging and therefore to the mind very boring.
Yeah.
It is so beautifully unchanging, and the mind enjoys change. It is changeful by nature itself. So, so to come to peace actually is not very difficult. Because all we have to do, and I'm not speaking spatially, but I'm just using a term. All we have to do is come one millimeter below what is happening at this surface level of movement, movement of thought, movement of emotion, movement of these phenomenal appearances. Substratum gets missed because it is unchanging. And as we get used to this unchangingness, more and more in satsang also we've been focusing on that backdrop on which the changeful is occurring. Just like the other day I was saying that what about the space in which all these movements and emotions and thoughts are happening? Can we bring a little bit of attention to that space? We find that as we do that, we see so much more quietude, peace. Although at the surface level, still movement might continue, but you find that predominantly you remain untouched and unchanged through all of this. So I've been noticing recently that for a long time we've been focused on belief and how it is the belief in thought which leads to this sense that we are personal in some way and a person can only be a concept, a belief. And now a little bit of attention is also going in satsang on the power of attention itself. It is also used
A power of attention or intention?
attention.
Attention. Focus.
So we see that this attention is has presumably been operating in the sense of operating as if it has been in personal control, although it never has, only because it has been accompanied by this thought pattern saying, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? So wherever our attention goes, we seem to have focused on that. It seemed to offer something for the personal sense of me, and not too much attention has gone into that. It seemed quiet and still. You just see that if we are able to put our attention into that which is unchanging, unmoving, which is right here actually, it is the predominant part of our existence. See, it is not the fluttering which is the predominant part, but the unmoving space of being. You find that it is just here. And what is the easiest way to do this is not to fight with our attention. That's an important part of this. Because it can seem like we get into a war with our attention saying, don't go there, go here. Best is to just leave it alone. Just let it be. And we can try it right now. Just let it be. It can seem to move about for a bit, but naturally comes to a resting. Actually, even more fun is if you try to drop your attention. Don't have attention. You see? Yeah. Just drop it, leave it behind. You see that you cannot do it. It is just here in service to you. Okay? So you find this beautiful play happening with attention. And more and more you find that attention will stabilize in this unchanging, unmoving. And for a while, the mind will interpret this as boring, as if you lost some excitement in your life, but you will find that nothing has actually been lost. There's a deeper sense of peace and joy which comes on its own.
There's been
There's
an
been an
awareness
awareness
of
of
observing all the phenomena, the happiness or the jealousies or the fears or whatever. And then there's been silence. But somehow the silence just isn't left alone somehow. If I'm sitting in silence, which I enjoy now, there's almost like this other voice right here that just starts very negative talk. And it's an old voice. It's like, okay, I'm 64 in a day now, right? I just turned 64 yesterday. So it's about 64 years old, this voice. It's really negative. Oh, it certainly wasn't my voice. It was obviously somebody else's voice, right? So it's been really unpleasant to notice this voice. It's like, who are you talking? Who's talking? First of all, and sometimes I remember to ask, okay, who's talking? And it's like, well, nobody's talking. But it doesn't shut up the voice. It hasn't cut the head off the voice yet. So then there's this resistance and then sitting in silence. I was like, I don't want to sit in silence if that voice is going to show up again. You know what I mean?
so when you look at silence itself, there's one silence which is the absence of phenomenal noise, so to speak. You see, it's just quiet out there. Sensorily, it's quiet. Inwardly, there is no voice of the mind bothering us. That is one silence. But actually, that is not the important silence, although it is helpful. The important silence is the silence of your own being, the silence of that which is aware even of this being. As you get used to this silence, there is no noise in awareness. And if awareness is our predominant self, and the dynamic aspect is just movement upon it, then the dynamic silence, although helpful in this realm, really doesn't touch the silence which is awareness itself. So even when the mind is trying to get your attention, is being unpleasant, is being nasty, whatever it's being, the point is to just see whether something is losing its silence in what we really are. This awareness is something becoming unsilent. Is that even possible? So, in fact, you can go as far as to say that the first noise is the creation of this dynamic sense, I am itself. And this unchanging, silent awareness, the first seeming vibration or noise, is this primordial sense of being itself. Because nobody can say that in sleep state there was noise. Deep sleep means there is nothing at all. So, what was the first flutter? The first flutter was this primordial vibration of being, consciousness, I am. And then all of this movement started. So, from that perspective of awareness, all of this is vibrating, is dynamic. But even then, with the creation of all of this noise and potential for noise, even then nothing moved. Nothing became noisy for awareness itself. And that is the important silence. And as we get more and more accustomed to this, less and less fearful of this empty feeling silence, this nothing feeling silence, then it doesn't matter whether we are in a marketplace, either outside, or if our head is a marketplace of noise. It doesn't really matter so much. Actually, our attraction is there for this noise because there is a fear of the emptiness which awareness seems like at the moment. And once this fear of this nothingness starts to dissolve, then there will not be so much attraction to this noisy environment, either seemingly within our heads or outside this, outside.
Ah. So, while you were talking, I noticed that there was a noise inside that wasn't letting me hear you, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to re-listen to this later. But I just heard what I just heard. It kind of clicked. That this negative chatter is there because there's too much fear to be silent in this awareness.
Let's say that the negative chatter is believed or has seems to have some power still over us because there is an urge to go to this rather than accept the emptiness or the nothingness of what we are.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. How do you free yourself of the fear of being in the aware state?
This is what satsang is for. All of this is for that. You see? So our inquiries, our recognition of who we are marinating together in this. My reminders that the Sadguru is always with you. See, all of this is for this. So, not believing our thoughts, experimenting, playing with these things, and seeing that nothing really falls apart without going to the mental chatter, and more recognizing that I am this non phenomenal from which all phenomena arises. So, this actually is the whole reason for satsang, for you to get used to this emptiness, the nothingness. In fact, I would go as far as to say to be with this and to see that, contrary to what the mind is saying, that this is boring, this is so not getting you anywhere, all these thought patterns, if you just allow them to come and go, then you will find that the true purpose of love, peace, and joy, which is to be in service to this unassociated being, will start to reveal itself. There is nowhere for love and peace to go but to be at your feet, but not at your feet personally. See? At your feet, the feet of the divine, which you are.
Yeah.
So when the pretense of personhood is being dropped, then you'll find that all beautiful energies like wonder, amazement, love, peace, joy, they're just here. And there is no concern about them being here or not. See, there's no expectation for it. And yet you see that there is nowhere for them to go but to be at your feet.
There is a lot of that, a lot more. Yeah, there is a lot more, and it's delightful. And when it's there and I'm in it, I'm like, oh, I want this every single second of my life. And then it's almost like this other entity takes over. Takes over, takes over my body and goes, wah, yeah, wah, and then I start feeling very negative, and I have to work really hard not to feel negatively.
The thing is, like you mentioned the word intention earlier,
Mm-hmm.
find that these beautiful energies are not in service to any intention. They are actually in service to our unintention, our emptiness, you see, our unassociation with any concept. So Even the intention that it should always be like this actually is counterproductive in a sense. Because intention implies person, intention implies separation.
Yeah.
God is not, consciousness is not projecting this world on the basis of an intention as we understand it. It is not a personal intention, it is not a desire. In fact, it's very beautiful to look at this, and maybe we can digest for a minute because this
Mm-hmm.
topic came up about intention. It is often said that we experience the fruits of our actions. We are talking karmically now in the laws of this realm, which we rarely do. But that word intention reminded me that there is something there also that can be spoken about. So it is often said that we experience the fruits of our actions, but that fails even the most basic contemplation, you see. That fails even the most basic contemplation because there is the action of a doctor and a criminal could be the same, of a surgeon and a criminal could be the same. Because the surgeon is using a knife to cut someone. So, this is sorry for the daily example, but the surgeon is using a knife to cut someone, and also a criminal is using a knife to cut someone. Therefore, it can
Yes.
be that both of them experience the same fruit, although their actions were the same, seemingly. So therefore, this basic inquiry, then the concept that you experience the fruit of your actions fails immediately. Then what could it be? Then we could say that we experience the fruit of our intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the doctor is intending good, is it? Is helpful, and therefore in this realm it seems like it plays like they experience the fruit of their intentions. So this intention. Now, what is said is that once you come to the realization of what you are, and therefore you come to unassociated beingness by dropping of the conditioning. It is also the dropping of this law of karmic. What you sow is what you will reap. This the law of karma itself. It seems to be in operation in this realm, although we are not too concerned about it here. But if it is on the basis of intention on which it operates, then we also notice that it is not possible to have an intention without carrying a belief. You cannot intend for something unless there's a belief about something. So, can there be an intention that I will make it big time tomorrow, or can there be an intention to change our life, or can there be an intention of any sort without there being an underlying belief? So, as we are coming to the end of belief, as we are coming to the end of conditioning, predominantly there is no 100% in this. It is also coming to an end of intention. So, either as we use surrender, if everything belongs to my father, it is his problem. Therefore, we cannot carry an intention for ourselves. So, surrender is the dropping of intention itself. Or when we come to the inquiry to see that there is nobody here that can have a intention or a goal or an ambition of any sort. And as we coming to the dropping of belief, then you find that there is this emptiness of concepts of conditioning. And that is why traditionally it has been said in India that those who come to an associated being are the only ones who transcend their karma or their karmic patterns. And it is also said that in the presence of the Sadguru, your karma gets cut. You see?
Yeah.
In India, if you've been involved in Indian in spirituality, you would have heard things like this, that you come to your end of your karmic cycle in the presence of the Sadguru, but it cannot happen without the sense of devotion or surrender or inquiring into who is here to carry a particular intention. So, so I feel it's a beautiful digression for us also to be able to look at this to see that as we remain empty, then we are also not in the realm of this karmic intention. Or at least as Bhagavan said, that we are not no longer creating any new karma, but still experiencing just the body is still experiencing the fruit of its old karma, the prarabdha karma, which is a from a okay, let's not get too much into it, but your old pool of karmic tendencies which are still there, are still being experienced by the body, but there's nothing fresh or new really being created without new intention or new being.
And there's an experience of this terror sometimes, this pure terror. And I've been trying to practice just sitting with it.
Take an example of when this terror is.
When I'm home and it's in the evening and I'm done with what I need to do for the day, and then I think, now what? And I think, well, maybe I'll just be. I'll be in silence. I'll inquire. I'll practice my Advaita. and I just sit, and then there's this. It's almost like a instinct, like a gasping, like, oh my God. And it's a very strong fear about being alone. And I am alone. And sometimes I'm aware of it, and sometimes I'm not, but when I'm mostly when I'm looking at being silent, or I don't have a specific activity planned out in front of me, then that's when it comes.
This is exactly what we've been talking about, which is that the fear of our own self in a way. This fear of our own self, because it is no thing in the non-phenomenal sense. You see, and all of us, if we are interested, can go through a transcript which describes the difference between no thing and nothing. I feel it is an important distinction. So it's there in the groups, and if somebody wants to read it, it's very useful because it can be a bit confusing because the mind only understands nothing, you see, and its interpretation of the no thing that we are discovering ourselves to be is that it's just nothing, it's just nothing. I am nothing. Which will not be a great discovery. I mean, who wants to discover that they are nothing?
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Nobody wants to discover that. But there's a great distinction between the phenomenal sense of nothing, which means it is the absence of all phenomena, is it? But the no thing that we are discovering ourselves to be, because this is the discovery of the non-phenomenal potential for everything to come, because everything comes from this no thing, is it? And yet it is not limited by just the potential for something to come, is it? And it's good sometimes these things are better consumed in the written form, is it? So when you read, you see this is easier to understand. But what I'm simply saying is that this no thing which we are finding ourselves to be, although has the potential for everything to come, yet is unlimited, is not constricted only by as this potential. It's not just a mere potential. Because even when the potential manifests into this living universe, dynamic universe, this living consciousness, which projects this universe, even with the birth of consciousness and this realm, this awareness continues to be complete. It is not lacking anything. It did not disappear because the potential manifested into something. It still remains untouched. That is why it is the eternal, unchanging, unmoving self. So it is a beautiful, pristine no thing, which is very different in quality to the phenomenal idea of nothing. The mind cannot fathom this. mind says, oh, what the point? You're just discovering yourself to be nothing. Is it? So the movement from here has been to clarify some of these points. Because they get in the way, they bring a lot of fear. I don't want to discover myself to be nothing. I don't want to be nothing. My whole game has to be something. It has been to be something. But what you're discovering is that you're much beyond this something, not much lesser than this something. The mind will say you're becoming nothing, which is the lesser than something. But what you're discovering is you're much greater than something, or the supreme greatness, much greater than something. So, and this will be your actual living discovery that you are something. The second confusion that we've been looking at very directly is that for many of you, you are coming to the realization of the self in the form of the recognition of awareness. But very quickly, the mind has made it as if it is separate from I. I'm discovering an awareness because many times when I hear your reports, not you specifically, I mean the Sangha's reports, I find that you're referring to awareness as it and saying, okay, but nothing really happens to awareness. But, and the instant I hear that nothing, oh yeah, nothing really happens to awareness, but that means that what you're really saying is, yeah, I recognize this nothing is happening to awareness, but what about me? You see? So there's a dichotomy which is being created because we speak about awareness in that way between I and awareness. You see? But the discovery is that this I, at its very foundation, at its very root, is awareness. You see, the I that remains is this awareness. You see? So that's why I've offered all of you this question: who is aware of awareness? Who is aware of this awareness? And in this question, then you will merge the sense of awareness, the recognition of awareness, with the ultimate reality of the self, which is I. Then it will not seem to be a distant experience. Because the mind, in its tricky nature, after the recognition of awareness, tries to sell awareness to you as if it was an experience. But it is not really an experience. It is the recognition of what you really are. Because if it was not the fundamental of what I am, prior to even the sense I am, then there would be no point in inquiring actually. If you were just moving towards another experience, then it would be no point. We are coming to self recognition, not the recognition of an experience. Self recognition, which by definition means I recognition. I'm coming to the recognition of what I truly am.
Mhm.
So these two aspects I feel are very, very important. And this will lead to the integration of our recognition with our letting go of our false conditioning, because it is seen that I truly is this awareness itself. And then we will not flip flop so much between levels. And when we do also seem to, then it will only be conversationally. What do I mean by that? I mean that our understanding about ourselves, which is the understanding with a capital U, not a mental understanding, remains as awareness. And yet, in the world, there can be a very natural, spontaneous way of living. So, this is not a flip flopping. In the sense, what I'm saying is that because we recognize ourselves to be awareness, we have recognized ourselves. Doesn't mean that we go to a restaurant and we are saying that awareness, which is now playing in its dynamic aspect as consciousness, which has given itself the label me, would like to have pasta for lunch. I would like pasta for lunch, very conversationally. This is a flip-flopping of the recognition of what I really am. You see? It is just a spontaneous, very natural way of living in the world. You see? But what I mean by flip-flopping is that the moments of quiet and the moments of meditation, the moments of inquiry, you see, yes, yes, awareness. Okay? I am this awareness. But very quickly after these moments are gone, the mind comes back and says, that was a very nice experience for you. You should do more. You
Yes, yes, it does that.
should do more of that. You see, but this you immediately that is bought is not awareness anymore. That is why when we ask ourselves, who is aware of this awareness? We will see that I and awareness are one, ultimately. And then the mind will not be able to sell you the story of another I for whom this was also an experience.
Hmm.
And with
I've asked that question lately. I've been following in the chat and in the groups. Who's aware of awareness? And when I've asked that, it's clearly awareness that's aware of awareness, or I. And it lasts for about 3 seconds.
that will get longer and longer.
That's good.
It's not that the formal inquiry in this way will just be like, it won't become like we are constantly asking ourselves who is aware of awareness. Just that once the pointer of I has shifted from pointing to the personal sense of I to this unlimited awareness itself, then we don't have to keep reminding ourselves or keep inquiring more and more. But it is just that that which has been misidentified now is getting truly identified with the real self. That's why the I is a very tricky. Master Guruji used to call it the chameleon eye. You see, he used to say it's a
Hmm.
chameleon eye because it can be a label for the very personal I. See, this personal sense of I. It can be a label for the body. It can be a label for the mind. It can be a label for our attention, for our emotions. It can be a label even for consciousness. I am that I am. I am that I am. A label for consciousness. And it can also be that this I, which is even before I am. One of Guruji's books is called Before I Am. That is the reality of what we are. So this I is the chameleon I, and it has been misidentified with this uh, floating surface level I of the person. Now coming to the reality, which is the backdrop, unchanging you is what you are discovering. With the discovery of this, then you will find that you're not so much bothered by the checker guy and the reporter guy. This is happening to me. This is what is going on. And all of this will just seem like some surface level activity. But you remain the unchanging.
You mentioned a little while ago that there's some written material on the difference between no thing and nothing. And I wondered, is that on your website under written
Where
materials, or
if Amaya or somebody is watching,
I'll check with Amaya. Okay.
very short.
She,
I feel that
okay.
something is better to consume in the written format, because we can take our time over every sentence, just look and clarify as we go along at our own pace.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. It was so delightful to talk to you again.
Same, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love.
Ishwari says that this intention has been here purely mental, somehow does not get carried out. Surrender is a great relief. Yes, surrender is a big relief. It's like we've been carrying this heavy school bag. Put it down. Bus is so weird and beautiful to see you from here. Yeah, she's been here for quite some time, so it must be a bit strange. But she had quite an adventure. You know? Her plane was landing in Dubai, and just as her plane was landing, presumably the pilot saw that the other plane just before him had crash landed on the tarmac and was on fire. I don't know how many of you saw this news, but one fireman actually lost his life in trying to put out that fire. Thankfully, all the passengers were safe. So then they took the plane to some desert, I don't know where. They landed somewhere and then they waited in the plane for 10 hours before taking off for Dublin. I don't know whether it went directly to Dublin or somewhere else. So she had quite an adventure going back from here. So, yes, Amba. I was saying yesterday it's a good thing it was Amba, you know. She would have been just cool through it all. Yes, she got home safe. Much longer time than she expected, I'm presuming. and close it, you can knock. Thank you also very much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Ji ki Jai.
Shanta ji ki jai.